Hey y'all, cooking, cutting up, keeping it real. Today in my kitchen, I'm gonna attempt to make my mom's recipe of sweet potato pies. I've looked at a couple different recipes. I asked a lady at work who's a great cook and loves to make sweet potato pies for her family how she did it. And she said she puts a little bit of this and a little bit of that and eyeballs it. So, cause she's been making them that long. And I said, oh no, I'm gonna need, like a recipe. So I messaged my mom last night and I said, Mom, do you have a recipe? And she did. So I'm gonna use that. It's one of my dad's favorites. And so I'm gonna make this sweet potato pie especially for my dad. So here's how I'm gonna do it. I have taken 8 sweet potatoes and boiled them this morning, and then I drained the hot water off, and then I cold water bathed the potatoes after I washed them, of course, and then I peeled them. I put them in this bowl, and I used my hand mixer to, blend those up. So they're already ready, okay? So I'm gonna need 4 cups. This recipe makes 2 pies, and you need to preheat your oven at 375 with your baking sheet in the oven. So I'm gonna stick that in the oven, and then we'll get started. I will post a picture I'll post a picture of the recipe card on my Facebook page after this airs, and then you can have it for yourself if you want to use my mom's recipe, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. And I'm a little nervous about it because she makes a really good one, and so I want mine to be good too. Let me grab. All right. And for you folks that have followed this page for a while, you've seen my mom bake her cheesecake. And my mom is one of those very meticulous, to the nail, she follows the recipe. So I'm gonna try to do that too, because I tend to be more of a dump cook, and this is not one of those times that I wanna do it. So I'm gonna put in my mixer 4 cups of sweet potatoes. And I'm sure you could start with canned sweet potatoes and drain them off, mash them up, measure out your 4 cups. But I had sweet potatoes on hand that I wanted to use. Totally up to you on that. Okay, that's 2. Let me get in here. I don't have so much room, y'all. Sorry. I'll just have to pull that back in so y'all can see it best I can. That's the keeping it real side of this particular Facebook page, because I'm just an ordinary Joe doing my thing. And part of my love of cooking is baking. And baking someone happy. My dad will love this. And he'll actually say, no matter how good or bad it tastes, he'll say this. He'll say, it's the best I've ever eaten. That's his famous saying about eating food when you cook for him. And I love that about him because it makes it fun to cook for him. Okay? Anyway. 4 cups. I am actually going to have them over for dinner tonight. They have not been here for dinner in almost a year, which is because of the pandemic. So I'm excited about the opportunity to do that. Okay, let me put that to the side because I do have a little bit of leftovers of that. I'll figure that out later. I'm going to add to this a 1/2 cup of butter, which I just stuck mine in the microwave and melted it. Okay, butter and sugar. I'm trying to follow her recipe. 2 cups of white granulated sugar. Okay, I'm gonna give that a little stir. And then the directions say add in 1 egg at a time. Okay. It actually says whip sweet potatoes and butter and sugar, so let me whip that a little bit. I'm just cleaning off the sides of this bowl. Okay, now I'm going to add in 1 egg at a time. That was 4 eggs. That's the other thing, that's the other reason I love a stand-up mixer, because I can do that without stop and start and stop and starting. So if you have a stand-up mixer, great. If you don't, you can use an electric mixer, no big deal. I'm gonna open up, my mom's recipe says a tall can of pet milk. That's what her recipe says. So this was the tallest one I could find in the grocery store. It's actually 12 ounces of canned milk, okay? And I bought that evaporated milk. I bought the Food Line brand. Okay, so I've got my eggs in. Now I need to add my spices and my vanilla and my milk. So let me grab my spices. I need salt, cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg. Let me flip this back around so I make sure I put the right amount. Okay, of nutmeg, I'm gonna put a 1/2 teaspoon. These things are so old that the writing is worn on them. They're vintage, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna put 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm also gonna put a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. I think I've had these measuring spoons since I got married almost 31 years ago, almost. Anyway, okay, cinnamon. I need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. It smells really good. All these spices going in. Sweet potato pie to me is similar to pumpkin pie, except you're using sweet potatoes instead of pumpkin. We'll give that a little turn. Meanwhile, I'm gonna add in my vanilla and my milk. And this recipe calls for a 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla extract. There's one. And I'm just gonna use this as a 1/2 as well. There's 1/2. And I'm gonna pour my tall can, 12 ounces of evaporated milk. And I wiped the lid off just like my mom does before I opened it, in case there was any dust or anything on top of it. There we go. Put that to the side. I have 2 ready-made regular pie crust that I had in my freezer, okay? And that's what I'm gonna use. You can make your own pie crust, totally up to you, but these are regular sized pie crust. So if you use a regular sized pie crust, the recipe says it makes 2 of those. And then I'm just gonna recheck everything, make sure I got it all in there. 4 cups of sweet potatoes mashed, ½ cup of butter, 2 cups of granulated white sugar, 4 eggs, add them one at a time, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, ½ teaspoon of nutmeg, ½ teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1 tall can of pet milk, which was 12 ounces, and I use the store brand, and 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. Now my oven is preheated at 375, and so is my cookie sheet. So I'm gonna put these pies together, pour them up into the pie shell, and put them into my oven. And it says to cook for 70 minutes or until the fork or knife test comes out clean. So I'm actually gonna set my timer for an hour so I can check it. Ovens cook differently, but that is what the original recipe says, okay? So let me do that. And when I post this video, I will post a picture of the finished product, the pies, when they come out of the oven. And I'm gonna serve mine later for dessert with a topping of whipped cream. Again, totally up to you, but that's how I am gonna serve mine to my dad and my mom and my family. And I'm gonna hope and pray that it turns out as good as my mama's. Just gonna hold all of it. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be full. There we go. Sweet potato pies. That's what I'm making for my dad today in my kitchen. Give it a try. I'll post a picture. I'll also post a picture of the recipe card. Thanks for tuning in. Make it a great day and bake somebody happy today. See y'all.